to the outside, so there's no rectangular rooms. All the rooms are strange sections of an octagon based on these exterior walls. Right next to it, we see the Hochelaga Inn. The Hochelaga is a heritage home that's been converted into a bed and breakfast. That's a pretty common thing to happen to some of these heritage properties in Kingston. Very expensive to maintain, so if you turn it into something like a B&B and make a little bit of money out of it, it helps to cut into that expense, at least somewhat. We'll see another example here, the Rosemount Inn, one of the very few firmly Italian-style houses in Kingston, has also been converted into a beautiful historic bed and breakfast. We've got quite some nice churches in Kingston as well. We're going to pass by one. I think it's ironic they've recently renamed it the Spire. I find it ironic because when it was first built, it was a Wesleyan Methodist church and it had way more spires than it has now. It had 7 or 8 little spires all sticking up from the top of the church. And when it was remodeled later by the Power architecture firm, they removed all of those frills because they were very stoic Victorian architects. They expanded the church, but now there is only the one spire, which they've decided, I suppose, to name the church after. It's usually called Sydenham Street United. It was originally a Wesleyan Methodist church. Alright, so now we're going to come around the corner onto Clergy Street. This is one of my favorite things about living in an historic city, is that once you start to learn the history, you understand all the street names. This is called Clergy Street because there were some major churches along here, and of course at the time, the clergy would live in a house attached to the church, so the clergy lived right down the street. So the first church we'll see here, in fact the only one we'll see as Princess Street is partially closed up ahead, is called St. Mary's Cathedral. It is our tallest heritage building with its 221-foot tower, a massive Catholic cathedral here in the town. Now we'll make our way down Johnson Street. So you're going to see a lot of more of these beautiful residential buildings. You're also going to see our second largest hospital called the Hotel Dieu. The Hotel Dieu was established by just 4 Catholic nuns. They came here to Kingston in 1845 at the behest of the bishop. We had just taken in literal boatloads of Irish refugees who were fleeing the Great Potato Famine and Gorton War, the Great Hunger. This was the first real injection of a Catholic population into the city of Kingston. So a Catholic hospital was built shortly after, has grown to be quite large, and it's home to our biggest non-emergency urgent care clinic. So this is a place where a lot of people in Kingston will go, you know, if you've got a terrible cold and you can't see your doctor, but it's not worth going to the emergency room, Hotel Dieu ends up being the place. Now the one last thing about downtown Kingston architecture that I really want to express to you is that major shift that happened around 1850. Up until that point, it was quite common for people to just live at their shop. They would live upstairs and the shop would be downstairs. And as you look through downtown Kingston, you will see numerous examples of that. In some, the architecture is markedly different between one level and the other. And even a home like this was designed to be a business first and a home up top second. And around 1850, this started to change. This is when suburban living started to become popular. This is when purpose-built commercial buildings started to become the norm. So the last thing we'll see as we're driving through are a few of those purpose-built commercial buildings. Now we'll start with some that never would have been residences anyway. Frankie Pesto's Italian Eatery up ahead, that's a train station. We used to have trains all through downtown Kingston, including this one, the Grand Trunk Railway. It had service between Ottawa and Toronto, so if the Grand Trunk was still here, you could just board this, both of you could board a train here and be heading back home. But it had stops as well here in Kingston. In fact, it did go east as far as Montreal as well. So that was the station right there. See, around the 1970s is when we really started to preserve these historic buildings, and we're very lucky that a spot like Frankie Pesto's was left intact. Now, when we're coming around the corner, this building to our immediate left used to be the Anglo-American Hotel. This is one of the massive hotels downtown by the waterfront, because of course most people, if not arriving by train, were arriving by boat. So that's why a lot of these major hotels are right down by the water. So that was the Anglo-American, and the next building down that looks very similar in architectural style was called the Frontenac Hotel. All along the wharf here were huge warehouse buildings. So for example, Diane's Fish Shack, this used to be a wholesaler for grocery and confectionery needs. So you'd be able to get all your candy and grocery supplies there. Now this wasn't where you would go as an individual person to buy these things. It's where you would go as a shop owner to buy all of your supplies to then sell on later. Oh, we've actually got lucky here. They put out the no parking sign a little bit early for the Lumina Borealis shuttles, so I'm going to be able to drop you off right at the visitor center. Before I do, the last building I'll point out to you is the beautiful Prince George Hotel. It's not a hotel any longer. It's in fact all apartments up there on the upper level. And one more spot if you're going to be here in the summertime. That's where the Haunted Walk of Kingston leaves from. It's a fantastic tour of the haunted downtown area. So that brings us to the end of our short tour of Kingston's history and architecture. But if you have questions, don't think that you have to run away. I have nowhere better to be. I'm happy to sit here and answer some questions, at least until the weather gets a little bit worse and I have to get this thing back to the barn. Thanks very much for coming on the tour. Thanks for visiting Kingston, even in the frigid winter. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.